want to learn together. Go ahead.
Maybe this will give an overview of productivity because
Productivity. Okay. What else? Any other thoughts coming to your mind, guys? So basically, what you got is a fairly. Yeah, you want to say something? Go ahead.
You see a very simplified portfolio viewpoint.
Beautiful. So you are primarily slicing your total land and trying to give you a kind of a spacing, how much of acres each of them are occupied, and also in terms of how many numbers of the product it is available, how many number of cows, how many number of sheep, how much is the area for agriculture. So that's a single thing. But imagine there is no words in it except certain numbers. Next slide, please. Yeah, I think you can speak on it. Both of anybody can speak one at a time now, so that will be better. Only one point of view. Go ahead. What does it reflects for you?
I think with the MH370, the Malaysian Airlines had a very wrong tagline. McDonald's is thrice the size of the box in that sense, or twice.
Okay. Any other point? You have given for both. I thought you will say only one. Go ahead. Yeah. Let us get thoughts from
Super size
others.
value for money.
Could you repeat, please?
Super size value for money.
Super size value for money. Okay. I'll come back on to you. Next one.
The left one conveys that don't overcommit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Next one. Next
Then
thoughts.
on the right hand side, it's over the cloud and it looks very cloudy, but it says summer. So maybe, it's not showing the authenticity.
Okay. Okay. Different. Beautiful viewpoint. Okay. I have not observed this. Good point. Okay. Next one. Any thoughts, guys? You speak out, please, so that we can make it interactive. No thoughts? Okay. See, the first one on your left-hand side predominantly gives you a wrong messaging because your box is small, but you're trying to advertise bigger size. So people don't trust you. Okay. It is an actual ad, it was withdrawn because it gives a different messaging. What you see is not what you get. The second one, you all know, it was a really good ad once upon a time, but after some regular kind of an accident, it has actually went inside the sea. So that's the way it is. So you have to be very careful when you write visuals, because visuals conveys a lot of things. So as you know, why all these things are important, because in your proposal you will definitely should have visuals, because visuals conveys faster way of communication, and it also get registered in the mind. Because imagining when you're submitting your proposal and the exit summary, customer remember not just your company by the way the content was. So it's all the more important that you play a lot more important to the visuals. So that's what is primarily what we are talking about. Can you go to the next slide, please? Hello. Okay, this is I think everybody is aware of it. It's a very common thing. There are two companies, Airborne. We know very well there are many more Airbornes are coming up. Okay, now the Tesla is into the market. So many companies, and these companies are done differently. Okay, and they are extremely different than the rest of the crowd. Okay, with the way the Teslas, the launch now, to the move to the basically X station, and then they are able to have a safe return journey. Actually, this signifies a different way of travel to the space. So the people traveling to the space have become much more easier. Imagine the way after landing in the sea, they immediately able to come out of it, which was not the usual one. Earlier, they have to stay for quite a good amount of days and then they come out. And they also enjoyed, it was only a huge screen on the front end. The entire thing was trying to drive on. So what I'm trying to say is you have to be disruptive. And it does not matter how long you are in that field. It does not matter how new you are. It all matters how strong and you are convinced with the solutioning what you're offering it. So that's the message I wanted to give you. So definitely when you are competing with your competition, there may be giants. We don't have to really bother about those giants are working. It all depends on you are representing Tech for them and how your content. Imagine exit summary is read by a couple of guys, key people in the organization. Even though they don't award you the contract, but the impression that carries is very important. So that is a message I wanted to give it to you. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, so what are we really talking about executive summary? Because typically I've come to know, because I was also in the similar field of thing, sales guys. Okay, I know I will, when I am at on-site, I always think offshore guys will complete everything and I get the proposal and then I have to do cut and paste using the content and prepare an exit summary. This is predominantly what was normally taught till I learned Shipley. That taught me that executive summary should be started first than anything else, because you should know whom are you targeting, who's your customer, what is the customer taste, what is the customer problem, and how do you want to address it. So the proposal is a storyline. An exec summary should primarily focus on his business issues and what is the benefit he is primarily going to get out of that, because he is responsible for the board. So the board meeting, he has to probably you would have had certain pointers. So that is the reason he is offering, he is primarily coming out of the new kind of a large deals. So that is very important. So exec summary is not the summary of the proposal. Very clear point of view. You know that. So you need to really understand the vision. You need to really drill down. Whenever you get a customer, any customer, either it is ARMS or either it is Tesla or it is, find out there, really go to their website, understand, because these would have already been taught for you, but understand deeper, understand the competition for them. Today you can look at the stock market, you can look at the stock marking application that also give you what is a competition around for the similar customer. So you know the share market that is moving, because why it is all important. Is it connected with my solution? Yes, it is. Because the ID solution is only enabling him to sell more and get more customers. So that's very important. Can you go to that? So typically, if you really look at exec summary, is predominantly you are conveying the intent. And that is why you are very important. How do you convey it? Okay. Shall we go to the next slide, please? Next. So so what we are talking about, it is storytelling, very clear. We all know that. So you have to clearly aware of what is a theme you want to run on that. So why we said that exit summary should be started first. I'm saying it is not the final, but you will actually, improvise that as you go along. So your solutioning also will change accordingly. Okay. So it's very important you understand the theme and who are your competitors. That is the most important thing. Many times we will come back and say, as a marketing guys, who are the competition? Infosys, Accenture, etc. Imagine the guy who preparing this proposal at offshore may not even know what is that Accenture is going to do on that. What is that I should be prepare myself to be a differentiator. Unless the input comes, unless we deep dive onto that, we will not be able to get it. So it's all the more important you do double click on that and find out what are you proposing. So that's what this next slide is all about. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay. So when we are talking about the executive summary, there are two key pointers you need to know. Is one is called discriminators and the other one is called the motivators. A discriminator. What is discriminator? I need to be differentiate myself with the competition. Essentially, what does it mean? I need to understand what is that I am offering a solution which will help the customer differentiate me from a competition. You may come back and say, that guy is also offering SAP HR. I am also offering SAP HR. What is the differentiator? Yes, because you got a lot of libraries already prefixed with you. You got your DevOps available with you, which the other competitor may not have. So that's a differentiator. Okay, and that is a differentiator between that will discriminate you from the competition. Let's get back to the other aspect on the motivators. Why should customers select you? because he selects you main pointer, he actually reduces cost. With COVID-19 around now, people are really coming to the bottom line of the story. How does it helps me? How does it helps me my productivity? You need to be quantitative. Very clearly, you have to articulate those pointers rather than saying I will improve your customer satisfaction. I will ensure you blah blah blah. All our English will not fly in executive summary. Executive summary should be very much focused on the hot buttons, since you know what is hot buttons, which is a burning issue the customer is facing. That is the reason IT solution is being done. So how will I drive that pointer? So that's very important. So next slide, please. Okay, now the pointer comes in. What is value proposition? Because people are using these words very commonly. What is a value proposition you are going to give it? Remember, value proposition is not English. Value proposition is not saying, typically at 40,000 feet, saying that I will ensure your customer satisfaction is going up. I will ensure your product delivery is great, blah, 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 etc. Nothing will fly. You have to really articulate, sit down, and I'm sure this will take longer time. So that's the reason when I said in exit summary is not done on the one day, not on the last day. It should be done on ongoing. And if your proposal does not carry these storyline properly stitched together, the proposal becomes a useless one. Okay. So if, for example, in this case, we are very clearly articulating when you will get your return of investment, how long it is going to take, and what is the number you are going to achieve. So this requires a lot of synchronization with you, the business finance, and the corresponding the technical team to come to an articulation, and that is what customer is looking at. So I keep saying the simple mantra, quantify. Okay, can you go to the next slide? Okay, this is about the strategic. Yeah, this is all about strategy. We keep saying, what is the strategy you have? Yes, I have a strategy. Remember, when we make a strategy, there are times in which we may not be there with the customer at all in the domain. For example, 5G. I'm just giving an example. If as now, Techem is very much stronger in that 5G. So some of the areas where you don't have a presence at all, maybe in some places, the Techem offices doesn't exist. So you need to know what are your weaknesses, but you need to really use that weakness as an advantage. Whenever you get that opportunity, if you happen to find that Magendra is there in that area, it is an advantage for you rather than saying Techem is not there. So use your strengths, use your weakness, and you convert that weakness into an advantage. And also find out what is the competitions is where they are not stronger. You need to do double click on that, because many times we don't give this information at all, nor we don't talk to those people. Because I'm sure in every organization you walk in, there will be guys who are working with the competition. You will find them Infosys guys or Accenture guys or Wipro guys, XYZ. Try to understand why they are giving that project, because there is something which they have not done well. So that's the reason you are getting an opportunity. Understand it and then articulate in your proposal, and articulate especially in your executive summary. Shall we go to the next slide? Okay, so this is very quickly, because it's a very short session, I just want to know, these are the typical practices which you would have definitely seen. You have to have used at least one visual in a page. Please don't have so much of English, because it's very difficult for the executive to really read. A CFO or a CEO will not be interested to read an English document. So have pictures, because pictures speaks a lot. But you cannot have more pictures. Just make it show. Maybe, I think it should be in sufficient way. Number two is you need to make sure the couple of pointers, quantify, I already talked to you. Try to use a more of quantification. When I say I will improve your customer satisfaction, go back and find out what is the current customer satisfaction. How will I improve it to some X number? And remember, when you are specifying on exit summary, you are putting yourself onto the chopping block, but you have to be very careful. At the same time, you need to take a risk on that. And also we are talking about when we quantify, there are customers whom we work with, for example, AT&T, BT, I'm just giving an example, any customers. When you are getting a new opportunity, try to explore what we have done so far with them. Because most of the time, we don't really put effort on that. We need to really go back and say where we have improved them. I'm sure if you could drill down with the development team, you will be able to get those information. Next pointer is why take them. Always ask this pointer in your mind. Why should they select me? It is like my job. Okay, why should they select me? So the way I need to prove the same in the exec summary as well as in the proposal. The other pointer, I think everybody knows that many times in any proposals you see, Tecum is always there number of times more than the customer. I would definitely want customer name to be more. I'm sure, when we talk certain customers who are manufacturing guys, they'll be more interested to know about Mahindra and Mahindra. Maybe they're in automobile, they'll be really knowing more. If I'm working with a telecom guy, if you talk too much about Mahindra and I'm not saying about automobile and Mahindra, it is not a good one to do that. And especially we take executive summary, huge space on that. We should be very clear where we have to put that. So it has to be synchronized. Talk more about customer. If you make a search and find out Tecum is comparatively lesser than the customer, you are having a good proposal and the executive summary with you. Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay, I'm just coming back to what Shipley has taught me. Okay, Shipley is the one company which is 75 years old. It is there across the globe. They have been working with a lot of huge organizations, Lockheed Martin, you name any of the organization. Most of the government companies these guys are there behind them. They have come out with a framework which is helpful to will quantify your proposal. So rather than saying, I still remember when I talk to my boss, when I don't get my order, my boss says your proposal is worst. It's very bad, dirty, absolutely rubbish. And these are the comments I have gotten. And then I found out, because there was no way to evaluate, you cannot say whether it is good, bad, ugly, because there is no quantification. And they have come out with a framework which will help you. So what we are currently talking about is the responsiveness is one of the attributes. It's primarily focused on executive summary. We can quantify them. You can give those numbers. Don't bother about these numbers right now, because that requires a lot more timing to work it. Each can be with a decimal number. Single decimal number can be put for each of them. So all of them out of 5. So typically, normally when the color is green, the proposal and the exec summary is good to go. The color is amber, definitely the proposal needs improvement. When the color is coming out red for you, that means if it is probably 3 or 2 or 1, essentially it is not a proposal should go. You need to work on that. So could you go back to the next slide? Yes, guys? Yeah. So this is about, what you yourself can determine this, because it's a self-assessment. Typically what we are talking about in your exec summary, address CEO's issues, because CEO has role changes on quarter. The performance is judged on quarter. One quarter he or she doesn't do it. Next quarter the management accept it, and the public, the people who are invested will accept it. Beyond it, they will not accept. So it's very important. Do you address the issues in your exec summary? Is that summarizes the ambition and innovation the chief executive is talking about? Are you addressing it? Ideally, your exec summary should be on a wow spot. Then the proposal, then the executive summary will fly. Next slide, please. Okay, you can actually ignore. Can you go to the next slide? This is the old data where we stand on. We need improvements. Okay. So what we are going to do is quickly attributes for the executive summary. And remember, Shipley is not a great science. It's a very common sense of the observation. For example, you need to evaluate your exec summary. There are only 4 inputs you need to bother about. The first input talks about responsiveness, talks about the executive section and summarizes, offers a self-coordinator, discriminated solution. link to customer hot buttons and requirements. Since you know what are the customer hot buttons, understand that, and your executive summary should address that clearly. Okay. Number 2 is state clear opening statement to be provided. See, it's very important. Many times there are statements which are open statement and closed statements. It's all the more important. Don't leave a closed statement, and don't leave a very open statement. You need to be very clear what statement and what paragraph you're talking about. So it's not that I can give you one straight answer for that, but very clearly you have to articulate link to the theme. So you have now understood what is a theme means. So your statements should be matching the themes, should be reflecting, linking the hot buttons and the requirements. It's a very important. So you will be able to grade them. If you are finding in your exec summary, it is not addressed properly, it is partially addressed, you give amber. Next statement, feature tied to benefits. So when I said about Tactis, I have a Tactis available, AI-based tool. All you have to map that with your customer benefits. What is it going to benefit me as a customer? How does it going to improve? So whatever solutioning you are talking about, link with the benefit. When I'm saying benefit is not English, the benefit is all about quantifying. How does it improve my customer satisfaction? How does it increase my number of customers? How does it increase my profitability? Link that with the numbers. So that is very important. The last point is language. So whenever you talk to customer will have a lot of application with a lot of different names to those applications. When we say SAP HR and the customer has a name for it, use that name, very important. Because then the customer understands that you have put effort and time to know what is the application customer is working with. So the customer language is very important. And I'm saying the language also means culturally it is very important. Depending on what kind of countries you are working, what languages is good for them, use that language very effectively. So that is very important, because many times in exec summary or proposal, you don't use any of the customer languages, because customer doesn't call SAP HR as SAP HR. He will have a name. It will be some kind of an application name, or some of the application names he has been talking about, or some of the framework the customer has already come out with. Use those things, because the customer would have given a documentation. You should read that. So these are the parameters, only 4 parameters. So typically what we normally have to do, take your executive summary, do an evaluation yourself, and find out for each of these attributes whether it is amber, red, or green. Right now, don't look at what number it is talking about. All you can do, then if you find that it is giving me red, then I need to improve. Then debate, discuss, work with the team and improvise on it. So this is how an executive summary gets evolved over a period of time. So can you go to the next slide, please? Okay. So now that we have talked about some of the concepts, what we are going to do, you may be wondering, how will I apply that? So I'm sure you would have got a sample proposal, ARMS proposal. As everybody has got it, Ved or anybody can give a pointer. Have you received? Yes, no? Bhavya? Domik?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you guys have received the ARMS proposal with you? Testing proposal?
Yes, we do
Yeah.
have it.
Okay, great, guys. So what we will do, we will not spend, I think you guys have gone through it. Okay, can we go to the next slide, please? Hello, can you go to the next slide? Hello? Next slide, yeah. Can you a little bit move up, please? Arms? Yes. So what we will do, I think you guys have gone through the ARMS, the basically RFP and the executive summary which has come to you. Okay. So it is, can anybody talk about anybody? I'm just using Bhavya name, not just because I'm getting that name reflected quickly on my screen. Okay, Bhavya, can you tell me what is that, what that the customer is looking at, Bhavya?
Here, the customer is actually looking for someone to provide testing and assurance services, for the IT and business changes which they want to implement. But then, but then they've just given they've not given the duration of this ask or the purpose.
So good. So Bhavya, you are now got the point. So it is basically an RFP for testing services proposal. So can anybody, for example, if is it Rajesh or somebody can talk about it? What is that you have seen in that? Rajesh, if I'm trying to throw a name, don't get mistake on me. Okay, I'm just telling what is that you understood on the RFP. Yeah, over to Rajesh. Rajesh, you are able to talk? Okay, if Rajesh is not speaking, somebody else can probably speak, please. Hello? Hello? Hi guys, I'm not able to listen to any of your voice. Rohit?
It is for mainly responses to the testing services which are asked by the ERM, and we are defining the high level skill set has been called out in the first slide itself.
Beautiful, sir. So basically, I think you guys have understood that the guy is looking for a testing services, and he is looking for basically a resource kind of requirement with the skill set, etc. Okay, so that is quickly about your proposal. Shall we go on to the next slide? Shall we start evaluating and see? Yeah. Okay, let us do that quickly. What you can do, I think all of you have got the exit summary before you. Okay, I will probably give you another 5-6 minutes to each of you. Let us take one by one attribute. So one person can speak on one attribute. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 attributes. Let us take the attribute number 1. Can you guys debate? Can you guys think from your angle? What is that you want to give? Either green, amber, or red. The first attribute, it is executive section summarizes self-contained and discriminated solution linked to customer hot buttons and requirements. What is that? Your score on that. What do you give if you are asked to evaluate this exec summary which is there before you? What is that you give? You give red or green or amber. So guys, somebody has to start the game, ball to roll. So somebody has to speak first. Yeah.
I think 3 is fine here, but then like I mentioned,
no, I'm not looking at number 3. I'm looking at only give red, amber, or green.
Okay, it's amber, and like
why?
I said, it's complete. Like I said, it's not complete because the duration is not clear, and then if I also consider all the parameters, that's 7 parameters, I think it also doesn't say any specifications on the ask.
Okay, great. So fine. So very clear. Okay. Is there any other view? So guys, quickly speak out now, so that because I am also my time limit is fixed. Okay. So guys, next one. Who's going to speak? Do you want me to? Because some of them I'm not able to get names. So Priya is there. Priya Haladi and Rohit Bhagat. So guys, you got Rohit. There are 2 Rohits are there. So okay. Guys, speak out. Otherwise, it will become one-way communication. Who is going to speak next? What are your comments?
Yeah, I think my view.
Yeah, Dominic. Oh, it is echoing, Dominic.
Give me a second. Is it better?
Yeah, now it's better, man. Go ahead, please. Yeah, Dominic. Dominic.
Hold on. Is this better?
Yeah, better. Go ahead, man. Very good. Go ahead.
I think when I look at that from a response, if I look at the structure itself of that exec summary, it's all over the place.
Okay.
So I really don't know what we're trying to pitch in there. So you start off with there's no flow. There is no flow. You straight away start with trying to extol the virtues of TechM, and then you talk about an approach before you talk about the solution concept.
So what is the score you want to give? What is your red, green, amber?
For me, it is red.
Very good. Okay, good. I just want the thoughts. So now you explained your viewpoint of it. Next, guys. Next, anybody? Last one. Anybody, guys?
It's Sir, this is Bharadwaj. This is a
Yeah,
very
Bharadwaj.
verbose. It's quite verbose,
Okay.
And it's also 4 pages. I'm not saying 4 pages is too long, but what can be communicated in 2 pages need not be communicated in 4 pages.
Okay. So what's the score? Coming back
Amber.
to numbers.
Amber, sorry.
Amber. Good. That's fine. Yeah. Is there anybody else wants to add anything? Otherwise, we can go to the next. So average, you are getting out. It is somewhat coming amber. Okay. Okay. But technically, it is actually a red one. Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Shall we get on the next one? Clear opening statements provided. Look at the general paragraphs in the 5-page document. How do you find is the paragraph structured well, and whether they are hitting the hot buttons and customer requirements? Anybody can speak out. If I think very few people are only speaking, I don't know why. Rashna, any names? Why can't you shoot some names rather than me asking? Rashna, are you there?
Hi, this is Rajesh here.
Rajesh, go ahead.
Yeah, to your point, I think the customer in the RFP document has very nicely mentioned around 12 points in their strategy section.
Perfect.
And that is strategy and approach, and that is not coming up at all very clearly in the exec summary. And like Dom said, it definitely looks pretty red.
So what is your scoring? You're giving red or amber? What is the one?
Definitely a red.
Beautiful. Okay, anybody else? Last one more point of view.
Hi, this is Ashish. I think it's another point that is missing is too much mention about TechM. If you look at
how many times, if you actually spend some little time and see, the TechM numbers will be minimum 50 numbers. I think 40.
Yeah, it's like TechM, and it's not. So I think that's an important red from my side that we need to track. Yeah.
Good, guys. So let us go on to the third pointer. We are talking about addressing, what are the benefits? Are we quantifying feature tied to benefits? So other guys, speak out, man. Those who are not spoken, I would definitely want them to speak. What's your scoring? Who's going to open the, bell?
So Anuraj, this side, I think there is no competitive advantage there. So
okay.
I'll give it a red.
Give it a red. Okay. Other point of view. Anybody else, guys?
So it's a open. Hi, this is Rishi. This is open statement where we are mentioning that we have so and so product and services which will give you the benefit. But how and where the benefit is, it's the open statement.
So basically 40,000 feet, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, Rishi. Any other point? So what is the score? You want to give what? Red or amber? What is the one? Rishi, what is the score?
It should be red.
Red. Okay. So I think technically it is coming out because ARM is a very strong. If you really look at ARM's website, I think people, it's very important that, as a marketing guys, we need to look at their website very powerfully, very, very carefully. Look at their annual reports, look at their, commitment, look at their discussion. What are the investor meeting? What do they speak? Very, very important. And ARM is a fast growing company. You know that now they are very much in the news, right? Apple being talking about, we don't know what's going to happen. But we actually have an advantage because we are a strong telecom company. Okay. And the pitch is not coming out very well reflected in our documents. Okay, so that's one. Last one, customer language. What is the scoring? Anybody wants to give anything? Make a start. What is the scoring you want to give? So guys, speak out.
For customer language, again, it's a red because it's not reflecting anything, any specific jargon of the customer at all.
And the customer has actually talked about it, right?
Yeah. All has been, I think I also agree with Bhavya here. It's this is Ashish. Again, it's all about Tech Mahindra. We just TechM. This is what it is. But no, there is no something which is specifically pointed on their requirements. So that's something that we need to should come out more clearly.
So what is the scoring? What is that you're planning to give?
I think I'll agree with Bhavya. It's red.
Right. Okay. So let me, I see, let me also see the objective is, this is a live proposal has been sent. This is not, the one which is artificially made. No, it is a live proposal. We sent it to the customer And so imagine yourself, if you are at a customer, you are the customer, how do you look at it? Okay, because this is not what I really wanted to get from the on the executive summary. Imagine you are the CEO or CFO. You will get hardly 1 minute or 2 minutes to glance before you finalize the deal. If it is a little larger deal, you may spend some little more time. But smaller, I'm talking about the value. Imagine the small value is also very big for us because his time is very important. And if it doesn't catches his attention, his or her attention, you will not be able to fly in. So that's very important. So that's what we are talking about. So shall we get on to the next slide, please? Hello? Hello? So what we are planning to, now that you guys wondering what is the next step for me. So we got some, fairly some knowledge on how you can evaluate your own exec summary. And you also understood certain good practices out of it. These are all comments and nothing is new to you. Okay. So what we are planning to do is that each of you would have got allocated certain proposals coming from respective teams, and you will probably work together and then come out with something. Shall we go to the next slide, please? Where the individual allocation will happen. Can you go to the next slide?
Yes, sir. The allocations, they are divided into teams. The proposals for them would go out today. So
today. Oh, for tomorrow's. Okay. It has to be sent early so that they can get some time to go through, please.
Yeah,
okay.
They had today another presentations which they were preparing yesterday. So due to tight schedule, we have just paused it for a while, sir.
Okay. So shall we go? Shall we open up the next slide, please? Okay. So this probably may not be the right one, but the objective is very clear. You have to be different, discriminate yourself. Only thing we want in slide form, not in word form. The presentation will be 2 slides, 3 slides, but don't go beyond 4 slides. That's the limit you keep because it's difficult for you to manage for 10 minutes. Okay. And each content of the slides plays a very huge part. You have to be very articulate yourself. How to use your entire screen effectively. That is one. And for that, you can be innovative. You can attach, you can behave as a CEO of the company, take care yourself, and you commit, or a particular vertical head of the particular group, and you can commit anything you can do. But objective is utilize whatever, even the run, change, grow format is still there. You have a choice to use that one and articulate yourself, use the TechM assets. That's very important because TechM has spent huge money on the R&D and to develop those assets. See how you can quickly make the customer to start not from a scratch. Okay. So all you will do it tomorrow with that. Krishna Gopal sir will be there for you evaluation. I will also evaluate, and he will also bring in some other team from outside, from our internal or outside team who will evaluate. Then the interesting part, this is a session 2 and session 1, I was really, actually I was very surprised how they can work together. But I've seen people work together in spite of not being very close to each other. So I'm sure you guys will do the similar work effectively. Okay. And you can come out with. So next slide, can you tell me how the scoring will happen? Can you go to the next slide, please? Okay. When we are talking about scoring, what we are planning. So the scoring is first, it will be about 5 components. Basically, the component 1 will talk about all your, typically that grade, whatever scoring attribute you saw, that will form the first one. Hot buttons, requirements, etc. you will fall in. Next, that is 20 marks. You will plan it out depending on the team, how many you are. Next, the innovation on that executive summary. How do you innovate yourself? Okay, so that thought is yours. Whatever, I'm just giving an example. 3 minutes, Nathan has put 3 minutes, I will put on it, not required. You can choose the style, what you felt in your team as good to go. Third number, the way you present and confidence you do, you will take care of that. We will not ask any questions. Okay, if it is a live session we may have today in this session, we will not have any questions at all. So you can use your time, either you present or multiple people presenting among the team. It is all your game. But when the counter starts, 10 minutes it will end. So you need to plan it out and ensure that whatever you are showing has been conveyed completely. Next point is talks about your asserts, DevOps, automation, design thinking, whatever you name it as, tactics, whatever you talk about, make sure they're all used somewhere. Okay, including your run, change, and grow format if it is still being used. The last one is very also important, how much research you're doing, because each of the customer has a website. You can understand what is the commitment, what is the analysis, what is the vision, mission. See whether you can link with your solution, what you're going to offer. So the scoring pattern will run like this. So this is what I wanted to share with you. So now my time to stop and ask if you have any doubts, questions. I'm just opening up for you. Any doubts in this method, any clarification, I'm willing to do that. Also, any pointers you want to ask during my presentation, you can ask now. I have time. Successfully, I'm able to manage the time this time well.
Sir, I have a question, Bhavya here.
Yeah, Bhavya, bolo.
Sir, usually the executive summary, when we want to create, we think of, sending it to the customer for a proposal, I agree, and keeping in mind the C-suite. And these days we are into the practice of, creating various pitch book specific to a particular section of the C-suite. When I say that it's a CMO pitch book or a CFO pitch book or a CEO. So, so my question is, will this executive summary be generic, or will we have to, maybe go deep into one particular C-suite pitch?
See, I think it is a very good point. See, let me tell you, when you are writing exec summary, you are focusing who are the people. A CEO, a CFO, because normally it's a management game. It's a management team. Okay. Because many times you have to understand what flies with that person. Sometimes you may be very, very articulate to the extent, if it is a CEO, that guy doesn't like colors. You may have to really understand that. For example, when I used to work in Wipro, Premji doesn't like any colors at all. If you are giving a jazzy slide, it will not fly with him. He wants plain vanilla slides. Okay. And so I'm just informing you. So you need to go, because when you're working with the larger deals, you will definitely know the key people management style and approaches. So you need to articulate, and you cannot have a generic one. Let me be very clear. Your pitch has to be specific. Okay. And that is an answer I can give it to you. Okay. Is that answers your point?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. I think I have Dominic asked some pointer. Yeah, Dominic, go ahead with your point.
Just a question. I think a couple of things that we're seeing here. I was keen to get your thoughts on. You mentioned customer name versus TechM and all. A lot of focus in this part of the world where I am in Australia and New Zealand, we're seeing a big focus on personalization in terms of first person addressal, as in you, us, we, you, me, us, our, kind of, rather than going down any brand or themed statement. What are your thoughts on that?
No. See, I'm telling you, customization. That is exactly what I'm saying. When I said that, TechM. See, when you are talking to, for example, an Australian insurance company, okay, anything, okay, you're naming it, okay. So when you are talking to that, it is all the more important you reflect that customer naming to you, okay. And otherwise, it doesn't become, personalized one. Why you are saying very personalized? You need to be personalized to it. So at that time, when you are talking more about TechM, you are not personalized. You are very generic, and it gets a feeling that you're doing cut and paste. So that is what I'm saying. So it is really important. What you said is personalization. You need to understand the company and the people whom you are working with, and what is the business domain they are having. And you should also know what are the challenges in the business domain which they are primarily working with. So the competition is very important. This is not a competition for us. It's a competitive environment what they're working with. Is that answers you, Dominic?
Yeah.
Great. Any other point of view, guys? So anybody? Bharat?
Sir, a dumb question perhaps.
No, nothing is dumb. Go ahead with your question, man.
So let's say I'd write a summary, executive summary of 4 pages.
Anji.
Okay, but it's a lot of text, but I convert that into graphics, but I still put it in 4 pages. Is that I mean, assume for a moment this content is average, not top class, but still, do you think as a general guideline, without looking on the quality of the content and other factors, is that 4-page or 4-slide too much for an executive summary?
No, look at yourself. If you're a CEO, tomorrow you are at the CEO slot, okay? I am not sure how much of time you get to go into this transaction and then say whether to award or not. How much time you will allocate. So it is always important that how will I catch your attention? How does it slides will catch your attention so that, oh, you understand my problem, you understand my pain, you understand my hot buttons. If that messaging happens through that slide, I am not really bothered about 4 slides. Even a 1 slider can convey that effectively. You have got that link with him. And definitely, if you don't get an order at this moment, the customer will remember you well. Oh, this guy has really understand my problem. You understand what I'm saying, right, Bharat?
Yeah.
That is very important. That is the connect you're talking about. Go ahead. Anybody else?
So I just wanted to, use this opportunity to drive home that point I keep always talking about, values. And probably we'll come to that either tomorrow or day after. Empathy, right? So if you are empathetic and if you really understand and know, and if you're really putting yourself in the shoe, like what Nathan is saying, if you kind of transport yourself into the body of the CEO with all the papers lying around him, 12 people waiting on him, a phone ringing off the hook, and then therefore in that situation, how will I catch his attention? Then this comes through. That is empathy.
I think you're right, Vishnu Gopal. You're very, very clear. Because the guy is answerable to too many. Tomorrow in that quarter, result doesn't go. His job is not there. And, nasty, kind of a message is floating around and his brand value goes down. So he's always, bothered about all these things, So how that you will really reflect that, in your exec summary, which will fly for him. Okay. So any other point, guys? Any other pointers? Ask questions. Rohit, I will call name if you guys don't speak out.
Hi, Nathan. This is Vadi here.
Yeah.
And so it takes an enormous amount of energy and a lot of fruitfulness to summarize and crisp it all entire flow into a one-pager executive summary. Not naming the pages, but when any company is responding to any of the XYZ RFP, it requires the accumulation of thoughts and confluence of thoughts. Just to support, we are there to help with our current expertise. And my question would be like in that executive summary, how to be very crisp on 1, 2, 3, 4 sections or 1 or 2 pointers to cover it up that these guys has covered in the preamble itself. That rest will follow as a due diligence. Could you please help me in this?
No. Typically, I think your point is very right because we all learn over a period of time. It doesn't come on day one. And definitely when you debate among yourself, you become a critical. See, many times, what happens to most of us, okay, we all live. When I have written my exec summary and somebody gives me, critical opinion, we should actually treat it. It is not on me. It is on my content. So we need to differentiate that very clearly. Then we are open to change. And it will take time. I'm telling you, there are times in which even one line, one word, Krishna Gopal agrees with me. It is not easy. And, making it to, conceptualize it into, 2 slides or, 1 slider, it takes time, lot more time. That's why I'm telling you, executive summary, if we do it at the end, we are not doing justice at all to the exec summary. So that's the message I want to give. And it comes over a period of time.
Okay, thanks, Nathan.
Thanks. Anybody else? Jay? I think Jay is there in the line.
Nathan, sorry, Manik here. Am I audible?
Yeah, Manik. Go ahead, Manik.
So Nathan, one question, just taking a step back. See, your proposals are of different kinds, right? See, we always focus on a C-suite of leadership and all. But most of the time, we also talk about technical proposals, and the industries are different. The decision-making power in a private industry will be very different than in a public industry, right? In a government entity kind of thing.
Correct.
Now, just to simplify the problem statement, if it is a technical proposal versus a business proposal, where I say business proposal, where you have clearly articulated business needs. In that, and my assumption, I'm just putting a hypothesis, that my assumption is top-down approach, the way you're talking about the first executive summary should come up and then the proposal will follow for the detailed response, makes sense. But when it comes to the technical side of it, if I'm writing a technical response, it's a technical RFP. Does it make sense to do a bottoms-up approach where you keep your executive summary or the pillar blocks you can define? I'm not talking about pillar block, the pillar blocks overall, how do you want to construct the solution should be defined. But then it will make more sense to have a grounds-up approach, right?
Yeah, see, no, let's see, actually, essentially, your technical proposal is for what purpose? See, if you really look at essentially, it's a business. Okay, see, whether the guy is writing Java code behind or, Python code behind does not really bother. Essentially, it is all trying to improvise his market value, market capture, increasing his quarter-on-quarter profitability, increasing his half-year profitability, and what commitment he has given to his shareholders. Okay, so I completely agree with you. Technical, bottom line is to start with, but whenever you are developing the technical solution, yield to that fact it has to link to the business. So we are not working on imaginary world, but we are working on a real world. You understand what I said? Maybe I don't know whether I conveyed my thought.
No, yes, you did, but again, just a counter question to that. See, it will lead to the business aspect of it, and that's the discussion. Say, for example, if I'm talking about an infrastructure deal, just point in case.
Yeah.
If I'm talking about asset takeover, I can start my executive summary with the approach that I'm going to provide 30% saving. For example, just a one-liner. I can only reach that percentage when I do my technical assessments and I have prepared my detailed technical response and I know the solution I'm going to take or the automation process I'm going to put in. Because on the other side, I'm just trying to link it. You mentioned previously, the executive summary should have a quantifiable aspects to it, right?
Yes.
Qualitative aspects, sorry. Right? Quantitative aspects, sorry.
Correct,
So from
correct.
the quantitative perspective, if I look at it, then obviously I can't start with that benchmark upfront, right?
No, I think, money, see, your point is, see, infra deals, why are we doing asset takeovers? Why are we giving a differential automation on the, infrastructure? Because if that infra is not running well, his business is down. The Friday sale, because, infra becomes visible only when the Friday sale, any server going down, you are not able to add to the cart, everybody will become visible, right or wrong. But essentially, it is infra that is running silently for all these days. So it is it may not be directly counter. What you're saying is I cannot directly give a number, but it has a direct linking towards that. So you can probably, based on your past experience with a similar asset takeover, whatever you have done, over a period of 3 years, we have improved the productivity. Instead of so many servers being there, so many people are running that show, I have reduced the manpower. Initially, I took about 100 people team, then it has gradually come down to so much. So these kind of statements you can definitely talk in your exec summary. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yeah, so nothing, just, sorry, if I'm taking too much of airtime, just let me know. But these statements, again, which you just mentioned, and again, I'm just trying to link it back to the debate we were having on the sample response, which has been shared. I hope you mentioned it is actual, so I hope that member is not part of the current team. But isn't it that it becomes more generic that I've done this, this kind of an asset takeover for XYZ insurance. I've done this, cost optimization.
Sorry, Manik Sharma, when I said when you take over, you have to quantify that. You have done infra deal for 5 years with this guy. You will be able to quantify what was the initial the return of investment. At the beginning, what was that and what is that? You reduced it. So that data, that's why I said it will be available inside your organization. Because Techem would have supported that. Techem would have today a great amount of data for AT&T, telecom guys. Similarly, Techem would have got a great data for other people like BT. In the same way, TechM also would have a good amount of data from the enterprise side. I'm sure it is available. It's only thing, how do you collect it? How many tickets have come in? How many server tickets have happened? Serve 4 to serve 1. How many have reduced over a period of time? How much of team size you started with when you took over that company? How many it has reduced? You don't have to name, but you can give those numbers strongly. That shows your productivity, that shows your assets, what you developed across. So that is why I thought, Manish, we can definitely have a long discussion. I'm sorry, I don't want to use the air time. If anybody else or any other time, because I'll be asked to, end of this. Okay. Okay.
Nathan sir, pitching in. I would like to take this opportunity to say that today's session actually it was very well timed, sir. So it was well structured as usual, and the clarity of thought you have presented to each one of us is really great. So I really wanted to thank you for that. KG sir, would you be willing to give any closing remarks to Nathan sir?
Yeah, I think on this aspect, I mean, as I kept saying that the account plan, I mean, I'm now talking an analogy, which is a very relevant analogy, I thought. An account plan is your checklist of being able to strategize and drive business from an account. A executive summary, in a way, becomes your checklist, right? So when you start making the executive summary and you say, hey, I have to put quantifiable value here, then you look for it, right? If I have to put so it becomes some sort of a moving checklist, not really a checklist. It's a moving checklist because the input to that executive summary will come from the RFP itself. Because if you have to answer the RFP, then obviously those points come into the summary as a checklist that, hey, I have to answer this here. And B, the way the proposal is shaping up, you'll try to pick, oh, this piece is good, I'll pick it up here and put it into the executive summary. I don't know, I'm actually kind of, moving into your territory, Nathan, but I thought, this was an observation.
Right, sir. No, you are perfectly right. So that's the reason we need that experience. You have gone through this.
So that is what I would say it is, because it's something that I would encourage a lot of people to do, the salespeople, that if you write the executive summary and say, I want to write it, and as I said in my messaging, two things happen, that it forces you to A, participate, B, read the proposal end to end. And therefore you are able to put that out as a document which the CEO sees or a CXO sees, who's able to see it only for some 5 minutes. And you become the arbiter and the quality control person for the proposal, isn't it? Otherwise, you toss it over the wall, something comes back, and then you shuck it in, and then you say that, hey, it was not good, price was not right, proposaling was not right. So yeah. Thanks, Nathan. Thanks very much.
Yes, thanks a lot for your team. I'm sure you are able to learn something from me. I think it is a learning together. Okay, any point, anytime, I have already given my contacts. You can give me a mail. I can definitely respond to you guys. So over to guys, I think let us have a nice presentation tomorrow. Let us enjoy the game. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.
Surely, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So VUCANs, now we have Ramesh Ram on the call. So sir would be taking us through how to drive revenue through alliances. So handing over to Ramesh, sir.
Hey, Ramesh, thank you very much. Those of you who know Ramesh, they know Ramesh. Those of you who don't, I'm a big fan of his. See, alliances, we always talk about alliances and, it has to happen, not happen. Oh, no, they are always, if you want to do business through alliances, you will not have profits, or, they are, we as a company, ditch people at the last minute. We'll put IBM one time. Suddenly the IMS team will change it to HP. Oh, poor little me. All that we hear, right? All of us, we know all of this. So in the same scheme of shit and thing, why am I using the bad word? In the same scheme of things, Ramesh Ram in his region does magic with alliances. How he does this is what this session is about, and hopefully that is a learning for us. Thank you very much, Ramesh.
Sure, sir. Am I audible, clear?
Yeah, you are. You're visible, audible.
Okay, that's fine. So shall I share the deck or you will be sharing, Srishti?
Either way, if you're comfortable, share it.
That's fine.
It doesn't work, Srishti.
Srishti, it's better you share it off because I don't want the bandwidth to choke also. Yeah.
Srishti or Deep Karan, whoever.
Just a minute, I'm putting it up.
Sure.
Ram is coming by any chance?
Ram, not likely. The thing is going on the other one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do one thing. I'll start with the introduction about myself. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's me, Ramesh Ram here. I've been working with Tech Mahindra for 12 plus years now. Started off, I'm a Satyam balance sheet carry forward, I would say always. I started off with Satyam. Then in Dubai, working for Middle East Africa for 12 plus years. Last few months, helping in Europe also for Vikram's team on 2 key alliances, which is SAP and Microsoft. And for Middle East Africa, the entire gambit of alliances I oversee. Of course, the executioners of the ground field team, I give the full credit to them. The executioners are the salespeople who get the job done with the customer, and their region heads who get their enablers functions in place. So credit goes all to them, and we've been able to clock around 25%, 20 to 25% of our annual revenue booked, built and booked for the last 4 years has been through alliances. When I say alliances, PFR holds a big value here. I mean, when I say value, the 20% of the revenue booked for the region is bought out items. It could be hardware, software. I'll go through each one of this, but basically, that's where I thought I will just run through this. The first slide I put, this was simple, right? The concept was simple. The moment you say alliances, people say it's dull, boring. Let me not focus. It's somebody's job. It's not my job. Somebody in Maha's team in Hyderabad will do it for me. So it's a very dull, boring job. That's what many people perceive it. Not just one, many people perceive it this way. And even some alliance guys feel it that way as well. Okay, so that's where the problem is. So that's where I said, I said drive through alliances was KG's topic. And another key thing is for alliances is, one is, I'll take you as the client managers, the client partners, as you are the champs who will drive the alliances. I'm not talking from alliance manager perspective. I'm talking from alliance ownership for this T30 account. This account, you are the alliance owner. Let me be very clear. Alliance managers could be 10 different people behind in your SPU, but finally the owner of the account is the one who drives everything.
I can't resist interjecting here. And when my presentation, I said, you are the marketing for your account. You are the CEO for the account. You are the alliances for the account. Sorry, go ahead.
That's right, sir. So that's about the key message. It's not that I'm avoiding my job. I told this to Vikram and Roger and the thing also in the Europe thing. I said, I can take the horse to the water. The horse has to drink. The point here is, you see yourself as an alliance manager. Though I am an alliance manager, I'm going to talk from your shoes. Like just now I heard in the previous call, I'm going to be one of the T30 client managers. So I'm not going to talk like an alliance guy. I'm just going to talk in your language, what you see, your eyes, your shoes, right? So that's the approach here. Here's next slide, Rishi. Yeah, I made the agenda very simple. I just said, okay, if I'm alliance manager, if I'm a T30 client manager, what is the 5W, right? The who's, what's, when, that stuff I want to know in alliances. I don't want to know what Ramesh Ram is. Doesn't matter, right? I don't want to know what Middle East Africa does. Might be that, many things when I heard in Europe, this thing I heard when I started preaching alliances or started evangelizing alliances, many people said, no, Middle East Africa is emerging market. I mean, everything is like that. Ramesh Ram, okay, forget it. He has something, whatever. He spent 12 years in the company, he's figuring out a way. What I'm trying to say here is every market alliance is key. Every client alliance is key. So that's where I'm not going to address it from a market perspective. It's a process. Like I told KG, it's a story. I'm telling you a story now in a process format so that you become the alliance manager for your T30. Simple. Okay, so I'm just going to touch on the 5W1H. The teaser, I sent you a one-pager preparatory material. I'm not going to run through it. It's basically the simple 5W1H. I've asked these questions to you. The 10 questions I asked is just this, the best practices and the 10 commandments. That's it. So I'll go back to this. Yes, Srishti, next one. This is the landscape today, right? This is a sample of alliance landscape today. See how crowded it is. We're talking about only security portfolio vendors here. I've not touched the entire 7-pillar stuff here. This is just a sample of the alliance ecosystem. Now the key question is, who's my right alliance partner? Will Maha decide it for me? Will Ramesh Ram decide it for me? No. That's the question. No, who's my right alliance partner? That will be answered as we go down. Okay, I'm not going to answer it here because each account, each customer, the alliance relationship is different. That's the message here. Yeah, next one.
Sorry, guys, are we recording this? I didn't see the recording on.
Yes, sir, we are recording this.
It is on.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. The next question comes, the next W comes is, what should my approach? You, Ramesh Ram said there's 1,500 OEMs, 2,000 OEMs. You know, when I took this job also, I was doing a single role before. And then when I took this was the questions coming to my mind. Me and Ram used to have a lot of debate. The alliance, I have three, people I learned from alliances, right? One is KG himself, second is Ram, and Vikram's approach to alliances, right? So that's where I learned from. So this question came, where do I take this forward? I mean, where do I start? Should I do SAP Oracle? No, what should be my approach? The answer is simple. You're a T30 client manager. Your customer journey decides your alliances. Simple, one word answer. If he's going to take a digital transformation route, all your digital vendors becomes your key, right? If it's going to take a network transformation, a 5G, 4G kind of a landscape, so those vendors become. Remember one thing, we're talking about a 1 to 2 year ecosystem where in 2 years, the entire ecosystem changes. Means the Gartner leaders change and new Gartner leaders come in. I'll just give you a small example. Data IQ was a company I didn't know 1 month back. They're a Gartner leader in data science today. And I'm pitching with them in 2 different accounts. The point here is I didn't know the customer. I didn't know the partner 2 months back, 3 months back. So this is the landscape. What I'm trying to say is if SAP is your play today, next 2 years down the line, SAP might not be the play, but you will not ignore SAP is the point here. Okay, so my point here is customer journey becomes your key source to identify your alliances. Okay, and I'm not going to read everything, but it's basically self-explanatory. And my point is simple. The SUE technology, I always tell my salespeople in my enablement, strategize, you execute and win it. You have to sew your shirt. You have to sew your dress. Nobody else does it. You strategize. What is my pitch? In app side, who is my player? Security, for example. Imperva, many of us don't know Imperva. Imperva is a Gartner leader for 7 years, 5 years leader, 7 years leader. LifeRay, a digital platform for 9 years leading. Is there a better sales play possible? No, just mention this, customer will listen to you. My point is you got to explore. In alliances, what I've done is after my dinner, 1 hour, I spend my time in the laptop exploring new products. Every day. It might be any subject I like. I mark my subject, like 7 pillars. Okay, I'll take this. I'll take security today. I'll take ESRM today. I'll take CX today. What is the Gartner leaders? That kind of a thing. Next one, Srishti. When do I approach? This is another thing, right? Answer is very simple. That's why I took the bird also, early bird. If you say, let the RFP come, let me decide my partners, you're lost. All of us know it. Or by the time RFPs come, the products are decided, the mindset is set, the partners are there in the system. Wipro is going to take the bird. I mean, Wipro is going to take the worm, or the TCS takes the worm. So early the better. Now the question, the challenge comes for a T30 client partner is, which do I decide? Again, that becomes customer intelligence, right? You speak to the customer. I always tell them, see what is their customer journey. See the leaders in your roadmap, customer roadmap. See the leaders. Get a feel. Don't take a vendor directly to customer. Have with them a coffee chat and see what is his mind share. I'll give you a small example. The world goes for Cisco, right? For a network, Cisco is a leader. I'm just giving an example. Here, I quote for multiple vendors. I have no alignment to anybody. I'm equally normal to everybody. But in an Africa customer, more than Cisco, I saw Huawei share more. Huawei globally, we don't do much PFR business, but in our region, we've done 40 million plus in the last 3 years. So point here is, it's a mind share. Why is it a different issue? Dynamics of the market, personal feelings, all it is different. But my point is, do it before the RFP is through. Whatever is the RFP, it could be security, it could be ESRM, or it could be, apps, it could be network modernization, whatever subject it is. Approach is same. I'm not touching any product, nothing technical. pure guidelines, pure W5, W1H with a generic business guideline. That's it. Yeah. And another point here, the last point I mentioned is keep in regular touch. You might not have an RFP. The small formula I keep telling my salespeople, Dubai, I'm based in Dubai. There are a lot of vendor events happen. I go there and sit. Sometimes someday there are 3 vendor events happening. I go and sit there. The youngsters joke that I go for food. No, I'm a vegetarian. I don't get food there. It's a relationship. It's face-to-face relationship. I talked to 50 odd OEMs. The 50 odd OEMs, the MD and the alliance manager will know who's Ramesh Ram. Oh, that guy who comes from Tech Mahindra. That's guaranteed. The MD will know, the alliance manager will know, the sales guy will know. Yes, Ramesh Ram has come to our event. Finally, alliance
does not drink also.
Sorry?
Ramesh Ram does not drink also.
Exactly. So one person joked to me, Ramesh Ram is going for 5-star food. I said, honestly, no, I just take some fruits, come home and eat my food with my wife. I mean, my point is the relationship matters, right? The point here is relationship matters. Go there. Finally, it's person-to-person relationship, right? It's all, alliance is simple. It's very logical, very common sense, right? So my point here is keep that regular touch. If there is an event, I'm busy today, I have a RFP submit. Let me skip the HP event, right? It looks simple, but at 1 hour you go there. If you're not able to sit for the session, it's fine. Do a handshake, have a coffee with them, that's fine. Say that you're rushing out, it's okay, doesn't matter. So point here is keep that relationship. It helps in the long term, in the run. When the RFP is coming out, they're going to only see the most of the cases, either the RFP goes to the vendor, OEMs, or the OEM has a say in the RFP. It comes to you, but this CIO is going to talk to the HP, the IBM, the SAP guy saying, what do you think of Tech Mahindra? If he's going to say, I don't know Tech Mahindra, or Tech Mahindra is very squeaky, I would prefer others, you're dead. Whatever you do is going to be lottery only. I'll put it as lottery because sometimes we do win because somebody else fails, right? So let's put it that way. So that's the win part. I think the answer is simple. It's the early bird. Next one, Srishti. If I'm going too fast, too strong, let me know, because Srishti has messaged me saying 45 minutes, boss. So let me comply to that. Now, where do I seek help for alliances? Some of you know this. Some of you might be new. Some of you might not be doing alliances. Here it's simple. There's SBU Alliance POC. Like I am a SBU Alliance POC for EMEA. There could be one for your geography. I know the geography here is ANC, ASEAN. You have your SBU Alliance POC. Then comes the Global Alliance POC, which is Mahasti. And then you have there's another key element, right? Your banking, your utilities has its own alliances as well. There are POCs as well. So point here is be in touch with them, right? And this is the help point. I don't want to spend too much time. This is easily, you can readable. Next question. Next slide, Srishti. Yeah. This is the one thing which, when I started alliances, we were doing, I'll put it this, I'll just give you a small data. I didn't want to put too many data in the slides because it becomes boring. In Middle East Africa, when I started 4 or 5 years back, me and Ram used to have a lot of debate. The alliance revenue was 1.5 million. 1 to 1.5 million was our alliance revenue, which was like not even like 2% or something, somewhere there. So basically, we were a $50 million region. We're doing 1.5 million through alliances. We said, is it a thing? So then we said, we spoke to our partners and our salespeople. They said, I know the customer. I don't need you. Flat on the face. You do it for Ram. I don't need it for you. I mean, I don't need you. I mean, you want to do it for Ram or Vikram, do it. I don't need you. That was the response from many. Their point was this. I know the customer. Customer listen to me. So I don't need you. I'll email whenever I need, you come to me. That was the approach. Nothing to feel offended. He might be right in his own angle, but this is an outdated answer. You see the left side. This is from SFTC. I've given a courtesy also to them. SFTC statistics says the customers are looking for a change. It's not my data. See that data. So many customers, percentage of customers looking at change, right, is much more. They want better experiences. So if I'm doing the same job for 8 years, 10 years, if I'm not going to change myself or my approach or my solution or my digitization, I might feel comfortable, customer is not comfortable. That might be one reason why long-term accounts get lost. I'm not commenting on anything specific. That might be a reason. That's where I picked the statistics from SFTC website, courtesy Salesforce. This, I liked it. And this is where my point is coming in as well. If the first line, I'm always putting the answer to the first line. If you think your customer is forever, rethink. It's not the case. He may talk to you nicely. Yeah? Many customers talk to us nicely. We know them for 5 years. I know the CIO. He's from my state in India. That's fine. That's fine. That's what happens many times. I'm comfortable. But then he's talking to Wipro and TCS offline to see what they are, right? That's where we tend to lose. So my point is, Go to the vendor as well. See the Gartner leaders. Okay. And the last row, I also mentioned here, there are many cases I've seen in the region also. We come back and say, we lost Wipro a small deal, boss. I'm doing 5 million. This fellow has gone and picked up 500K, 200K. Wipro is in trouble, boss. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm just naming just for comparison. No, that 200K next year is going to take your 5 million out. That's how they enter. Wipro, TCS, all the smarties enter through a 200K, 300K sometimes. You're doing a 5 million. Tomorrow you will become a 200K guy and he becomes a 6 million guy. This is true. This is data which I have seen through my life. Yeah, next one. Okay, this one, let me pause for a minute. Till now, so much of generic stuff I told you. So the point here is, any questions? Let me pause here, or you want to park the questions later? I'm fine as well.
Hey Ramesh, where would some of the smaller upcoming startups come here? How do you rate them? Because they are the ones who are disrupting the market. How do you? Some of them are actually tier ones now in terms of their space and the amount of disruption they are causing in the ecosystem, right? And especially in, say, fintech or in networks, 5G. So how do you feel that?
Good. I think that will get answered in this pyramid. Okay, I'll take this pyramid from a. See, this pyramid actually, when we started, we did a 3-layer pyramid. Before 3 years, it was a 3-layer pyramid. The 4th layer came in with the tech next and the digital wave coming in the last 2-3 years. Now, earlier we used to say a percentage that tier 1, I'll do 50%. I intentionally removed it because, answers your question, I might do a tier 4 50% this year. I told you, right? The data IQ partner, I did not know 3 months. 2 large bids, one in telecom in Africa and one in oil and gas, in large brands in the region are considering that solution with us and a few other vendors. So that could be my 50% next year. I don't know. They're a Gartner leader. Now, coming back to this point, your question, any partner could be key for you. It depends on your customer journey map. So there's no fix. I'll relook at this pyramid every year. Before the sales planning session, I redo this pyramid. I change this pyramid. This pyramid can be done for it's for a T30 account. I've not taken a IBU or IBG view here, though the base understanding is from IBU. For me, a T30 is IBU or IBG by itself, right? It's as big as IBU. So point here, going back to your answer, your tier 1 is your definition, purely yours. It's not by revenue alone. It's by focus you need to spend on. See there, I'm not putting revenue angle here. It's a focus angle. The tier 1 is a strategic focus here. What is strategic depends on your T30. It could be digital today. It could be apps tomorrow. It could be cloud. You know, some of the CME accounts I'm touching recently, I've been doing CME recently, past few months. The cloud play is so big. It takes time, but then the talk is so big. The big things can come out in cloud. In enterprise side, cloud is still smaller when I see CME, right? The point here is the vendor, what is priority, what is tier 1 is purely your landscape. That's where I go back to my answer. Customer experience, customer journey. What is your customer journey? Is he looking at cloud as a key thing, or digital plus cloud, or only digital on-premise? So that decides your tier 1. So now my tier 1, I'm just giving 2 examples from a traditional view, right? My cloud vendor, I take it as Microsoft, Oracle apps. Every T30 will have its own pyramid. The pyramid changes by the T30, by the customer's journey. That's the answer here. Now, let me define the tier 1 and tier 2. I think it's there, but let me touch on the key points. Strategic focus. Strategic need not be big value items. That's why I put strategic focus. The reason is, if you're not a digital vendor, digital advisor to the customer, digital change enabler to the customer, you're out of the game. See, it's like this, right? I'm doing 5 million with SAP or Oracle. Very good. I'm running the ERP. They like me. But digital 500K I've lost to another vendor. Tomorrow is going to transform with a CX, my SAP landscape, with a beautiful CX product, take over my SAP. And I might end up doing for cheap tickets for him at 1 million, and this guy might doing the niche 4 million. And the next digital wave comes, I'm gone. The next transformation wave comes, I'm gone. So point here is going back to the same point. What is your tier 1 depends on your customer journey. If digital is his theory, go with it. No fixed rules here. Let me also make a point here. Tier 1 have QBRs with them. You might wonder, why should I have a QBR at a T30 level? For me, it's a business by itself. Like just now KG mentioned, you are the CEO of the account, right? Everybody's an enabler. Everybody's an enabler. So you're running a QBR for your unit. The QBR is with your alliances of tier 1, whoever it is, right? No business is fine. Do you know that I meet 50 vendors, I meet them every month. Only 10 to 15 of them generate me some revenue for the next 2 years. I know that very well. There is a partner, I don't want to name, there are 10, 15 partners, I've been talking to them for the last 3 years. Zero revenue. Zero revenue. People think I'm going for a bid. No, I'm going to get some bid next year on this. It's all relationship, right? I know you well for 3 years. My reach to you is faster. And my mind share is faster.
Again, I cannot resist. Ecosystem, network with people when you do not want anything from them. Remember this. And that's how you become Don Vito Corleone. Go ahead.
So I'll tell you one thing. I was just telling this to my Europe role is different. Europe role is SAP and Microsoft. So I touch and focus on the 2 key alliances. In Middle East, what I do is I have a touch of 50 to 55. I think I mentioned this, 50 to 55. Keep meeting them. There's no free time, right? Just have a call. Today, Teams is very easy. Just have a 15-minute call. Eid time, just call him, say that, easily. See, most of the alliance partners will be give you general feedback. You talk to them, going to say, Wipro is doing better than you, TC is going to do better with you, you are gone. That's fine. That's his frustration. That's his feedback. But the relationship angle will not go. Okay. And for tier 1, I also do one thing. In tier 1, I'll tell you one thing. Ram, I take him every quarter to the tier 1s. Every quarter. Last week, there was a quarter review with, I don't want to name the alliance. He brutally said, Ramesh Ram is only talking to me for 6 quarters, 0 revenue. You lost 5 bids, 6 bids. It doesn't matter. Action item. Let's review again. Do you know I take Vikram to the QA, to certain tier 1, all the tier 1 vendors, Vikram would have meant. The president level of the region, the MD level of the region. Yes, complaints will come that they'll tell Vikram that, traction can be better, TC is doing better. That's fine. But my point is tomorrow when I need something, Vikram has an access to the president or the MD of the level. See, in Alliance, one thing is very clear. Be very transparent and open book. You try to hide my revenues low with the OEM. It's going to hit you somewhere. All right. So be very transparent. There's nothing wrong. Vikram will say, we give a feedback, Ram gives a feedback, it's fine. But at least it's open book. Yes, I will improve sometime. So same thing for a T30 account. When your region head, for example, whoever is your region head is visiting your city, take him, just spend an evening, a coffee with the tier 1, if required tier 2, right? Tier 1, tier 2 is open for you. I just picked up some names based on the 7 pillars we have here. It's not hardcore, it is what you do with. See, the tier 3 is a very interesting thing. While we talk about tier 1, tier 2, I would say that, is, sometimes you change your network. You will not change your network every year, right? So I put that as tier 2, right? Cloud is there active for the next few years. The tier 3 is another interesting thing. These tools, right? We are very good in tools. Infra tools, right? ServiceNow, AppDs. Try to use them because that gives you a quick win. See, there are 2 parts, right? You have a strategic long-term vision. You have a short-term vision also. Go to these guys. These guys can do a PFR also. Okay. These guys will do your run rate. Your survival is based on this guys. Okay. The Micro Focus, the BMC, the ServiceNow, the AppDs, all these people. Finally comes the key where somebody just asked me, sorry, I missed your name, the digital angle. You decide what is your, I've decided your picked up 4 pillars based on my experience. Just samples here. DNA is your focus. Take that. What is your leader? For me, Cloudera, I just put because that's a traction I see in my market. RPA, UiPath. The blue prisms right for you, go with them. DX, digital experience platform, the Lifeway is a leader. I mentioned this. ESRM, talk to the security portfolio, Rajiv Singh's team, Millins. Find out what works with your customer, align with them. The revenue share could be different. Let me repeat again. It's not the revenue share. It's the value share to your customer journey. Simple. The problem we have is we are still, I'm not a very young guy, but many people have this old mindset, right? I try to be young. Digital is the key today. If Ramesh Ram is not going to speak digital, Ramesh Ram is out of the job tomorrow. This is reality. It's not Tech Mahindra's problem. It's the industry. That's the way it is. Be young. Keep learning. Every weekend, every day, you have no time. Go and look at the Gartner leaders. Everything is available in Google Play. Watch YouTube's of your space, ESR and firewalls, whatever. Everybody is an expert. Don't wait for competency and come run a webinar. Let me be very clear. Just do it yourself. It's possible. I'm talking 50 customers, 50 different vendor products. Each vendor has 2-3 products, 150. I can tell you, I can speak what you want to hear. That's my logic. When I speak to SAP, I talk intelligent enterprise. Right? That's the pitch I do because that's what they want to hear. When I go talk to Microsoft, I said Azure consumption. right? Network cloud. That's the play. That's it. See what I always tell my people, when you're talking to an alliance partner, just see what is he talking to his customer. Simple. Because 50 partners, I cannot tell you what is the logic. I have my own logic scripted. What is a SAP MD talking to a CIO of his customer, intelligent enterprise? So I say that I'll be an enabler for intelligent enterprise to the SAP alliance and the salesman. He wants to hear that. You go and say, boss, I'll do your ECC. Okay, you do it, fine. Be there in the queue, I'll call you. I will be an enabler to intelligent enterprise. Be careful today. How will be the next question? I'll bring your SAP Hybrid CX Play. I'll bring your Azure Embrace. I'll take you to the cloud. I'll activate machine learning integration to AI. That way, customer becomes intelligent. That's the answer. Not just one liner. How comes below? And then third step comes. I have this Gaia, GAIA. I have my 5G 4E place. Then comes your detailing. So every story has a one-liner, a three-liner, and a five-liner. Then your competencies take over on it. But the first three rows, first three statements is yours. Okay. Next one. I'll park it here. It's a bit busy slide. I think should be fine. Now that's the 5W1H I had about the generic stuff, which I just touched on the pyramid as well. So that answers your 5W1H. How do you manage your alliance? There is the best practices which I've learned. None of my content here is picked up from Google except the verbaling. All this I've experienced through my hands-on in Tech Mahindra through my years. So it's all, many people come back and say, boss, you're talking something from your previous experience. I have been working elsewhere as well. No, this is purely customized for Tech Mahindra, how it works. The terminologies, the processes, practices, everything is Tech Mahindra customized, typed by me for you based on Tech Mahindra. So best practices for Tech Mahindra. It's not picked up from a Deloitte or Accenture website. This is what works for us. Next slide.
Hi, sorry, this is Herman from Singapore. If I may interrupt, may I ask a question? Yeah, so this actually goes back to the partnership that we have, because I understand, I joined TechM less than a year ago. So I happen to have an experience where I understand that we have signed an agreement on a global level or on a regional level in some parts of the world, but not in certain parts of the world. So for example, we may have a real case scenario that we recently have, we have signed a partnership with Informatica, for example, that is on a global level, or I think it was in India. But we, because we need that agreement to be signed for local in order for us to sell in Singapore. Now, we had quite a bit of problem because that, I'm not sure whether this is the right problem, that I thought I'd just bring it up. But it took us quite a while. In fact, it took us months to get that sorted out. Now, the local agreement is crucial, especially for us who sell in public sector. Some of the vendors are even strong enough. For example, the Blue, they can even dictate to ask all the bidders.
Herman, we got the gist of the thing. I think in the interest of time, Ramesh, you want to take it? Should I do it? I think you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do it, sir.
No, I think again, I said the same thing. Ramesh, you can add to this. You're the CEO of the account, CEO of the region, number one. Number two, people do business with people, right? It is, if you have the customer in your pocket, and if your relationship ahead of time with that particular whoever it is, Informatica, whether that person was good, then things will happen. It is my belief, right? Yes, some minor last minute is there. I don't think companies are as bureaucratic as we like them to paint. Number two. Number three is this thing of, I've said to give my example that, for me to help, and I'm going to be a little sharp here, pardon me. If I have to help somebody in head office has to help me fall in love with this girl is a problem, right? Falling in love locally is our job, right? Oh, that low. So I'm saying these three things. I'm not very good at being very tactful. I leave the tactful answer to Ramesh Ram.
Okay, sir. So it's simple, right? I'll go back to see everything, all slides. I will go back to my slides only. Customer journey. So know your customer journey. If he's going for ETL, Informatica is there, a ETL tool. You should have what you need to do is see your customer journey is towards data. I'll just put generic. I'm not going to specifics. Data. So data leader is Informatica. We immediately check with your SBU or your global NSPOC if Informatica agreement covers my geography. Otherwise, there's always addendum possible to the global agreement. Most of the OEMs allow. This is faster, right? Agreements are important, but agreements will not stop your business. I'm telling you very clearly. The only thing what stops your business is if alliance partner wants you to win, no agreement is required. I'm telling you that right away. If he has a mind share with you, he'll find a way out. We have booked orders of a $2 million on a 31st March in a company like IBM. You know what is IBM? All of you know, right? 31st March for a customer called Aramco. Both are giants. I would put the relationship 360-degree relationship is the only answer. My point is simple. Agreements are possible, workable, doable. Just plan it out well ahead in time. Okay, that's all. Herman, you can talk to me offline also because I have 2 more slides to finish up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, next question is again, now the best practices. No, don't change the slide because we could win it other questions. Yeah, this is one thing which I heard from large enterprise or the T30 partners tell me, Ramesh Ram, you're talking a lot of theory which works for the smaller customers. I'm a T30 guy. That's the answer I like. Mine is a large enterprise, they will not buy from me. This is where I made this table specifically. I split it, you can read it later. The tier 1, for example, a large customer, which should I take? A PUB, for example, in Singapore, right? A public utilities board or whatever you call it, the utilities, right? Woolsworth or whatever, will have your enterprise level agreement with a Microsoft. That's my, let me read the cell. Tier 1, you just see the large enterprises. It's likely to be a direct customer. That's what I'm trying to say. It's likely to be a direct customer. You just find out if it's an enterprise level agreement and you have no chances, park your time into a tier 2 vendor. See, all the 50 vendors I'm speaking about doesn't have enterprise level agreement with the ministries. Let me be very clear. The top 10 vendors will have. Liferay, Imperva will not have an enterprise level agreement. There you can do a PFR. The challenge we have is we'll go and talk to the largest customer on SAP, Oracle, and Microsoft, which we know there's an enterprise level agreement. Even there are times when the vendor and the customer wants you to come in. There are times, I will leave it to you based on the dynamics of the market. But chances are lower. So my point, that's what I said in the 4th bullet, low chances, because it's a direct customer. Don't spend your energies and say alliance doesn't work. The pitch is wrong, the direction is wrong. Come to the tier 2 and 3 vendors. There's no enterprise level agreement there. Search for them. See, you're not measured on business, Microsoft alone, you're measured on numbers also. Tier 2 and 3 gives your digital, all your RPA vendors, right? UiPath or Automation Anywhere, they all want to do PFR with you. So do that, right? Now, mid-markets is a different game, right? That's why I put all green for mid-markets. Tier 1, 2, 3, most of them don't have an agreement. You can play there. And I always tell them, from a T30 perspective, you're only in the large enterprise. But I gave you this openness just for you to know that the mindset we have is mid-market, smaller customers can do, large enterprise cannot do. No, large enterprise tier 2, tier 3 is the play. You just read through the slides, you will feel it. Okay, PFR is your, I don't know how many of you know the full form, it's procure for resell. The bottom items, basically. Yeah, that's the Tech Mahindra's term as well. Yeah, next slide. This I'm not going to read through you, but basically it is the landscape, right? Know your play and your player. What am I going to do with Dell, for example? What am I going to do with Cisco? Do you know that I talk to all the 5 infra MDs of the region? I go peacefully and talk to them. The Dell, the Cisco, the HP, the IBM, and the Huawei. Nothing wrong. And I tell them back. Sometimes they cheekily say Ratna, I saw you in the Huawei meet. I softly put it. I also saw you in Wipro meet, boss. That's fine. It's a multi-to-multi player here. There's no loyalty. Loyalty is to the transaction. You be loyal to your transaction. Don't ditch a partner in the transaction. We are not we are a multi-alliance ecosystem here. We talk to everybody. We have to talk to everybody. They talk to everybody. So here I'm not going to read. Basically, it's a mapping just to give you a mind map how things work, right? I mean, what do I do? For example, digital BSS, for example, Ericsson Suite is there, right? Infra DC, there are multiple players. So I have two options in infra DC, the third row, the blue, right? What are the three rows? For infrastructure as service, I can either go to Microsoft or AWS. I didn't pick Google because Google Play is not much here yet, right? What are the two different colors? My priority one, see that legend is also given below. My blue are my digital, the new place. And my green and the yellow give me the priorities, that kind of legend. I've given you this landscape. Just digest it, you will know it after some time. This will be changing for your thing. Just sample so that you know how things are done. Yeah, next slide. Yeah. This is another thing. This is again customized for Tech Mahindra, not picked up from Deloitte website or Accenture website. This is the question, right? How do my margin, I can never do a 10% margin in the region. My region is very modern. I am in a developed market. Middle East, Africa, these things come up. The point here is very simple. It is doable. Multiple points. I'm not going to read everything, but I'll just touch on one or two improvement, like I mentioned. Why will anybody pay a 10% margin to you if you're going to do a resell without a value? The next question is, why do they pay extra, provided you provide value add? What is the value add in an Oracle BOM I can do? Help them on the BOQ. Don't pick a BOQ from a Reddington or a distributor and just throw. The moment you're a courier, there's no value add. The problem with many of our guys is we are couriers. We don't even open the attachment. What's wrong BOQ came? The first question I asked is, did you open the BOQ first of all? Then why do you say it's a wrong BOQ? You didn't open also. My point here is, it's not easy to advise on a BOQ. Let me be very clear. But there are people in the company who can do it. Right? If not able to do it, see, many times we blame competency. Right? This question came to me on a CME call when the leaders asked me, Huawei, we're not doing.
BOQ is bill of quantity, BOM is bill of material, one and the same. Exactly.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that. Yeah. The point here is, if you don't have an expertise, right, ask intelligent questions to the distributor and the OEM. In IT industry, one thing I've learned through my life is the one who talks doesn't know the real stuff, including myself, right? You've understood what the play is more than I'm not going to configure a Huawei for you, but I can speak Huawei to the Huawei MD. Same way I can talk SAP Hybris to SAP MD, but I cannot configure Hybris. There is experts for that. My job is not that as well. So point here is ask intelligent questions. Is this product required? Why is this line item so high? What is the discount applied? Why is the quantity? See, what is the value of a BOQ? I mean, value of a price of a commercial of a product, right? It is nothing simple, right? Quantity into the unit price. Why is the unit price so high? Do I need 100 professional users for a small customer like this? Many a times I've seen we blindly don't question. We just take 100 BOQ. Remember the other side, your SAP or Oracle salesman is a salesman. He sells more to you, his numbers are met. So he's trying to make you a fool. I'm not blaming him. He's a salesman. It's for you to question. Now, this questioning benefit you get, you take a brownie from your vendor, from your customer. You say that, boss, 100 was there, professional users, I change it to 50, cost optimization, I'm helping you, we will negotiate. Be very smart here. I always tell in alliances, don't be political, be diplomatic. The line is very thin. Don't be political. That sending an email saying that, boss, see this, because he might forward that email. In my region, it's very common. I send a mail to my customer forwards to the partner. Be cautious. Today, WhatsApp photos I can send. Be diplomatic. Don't be political. Right? Then other things I think you will know as I know, the proactive pitch, SI bits. Another important thing, PFR is only enabled by a large SI bit. See, it's like this, when I do a large SI bit of $30 million, right? See, many times we tend to lose this. I do a large bit of $30 million for my T30 customer. There are a lot of line items there. 10 products have sold, right? Problem is we spend all the time. Go to the 10 partners and ask them for PFR. They will help you in 2 quarters because you made them sell. He didn't do anything. Your SI bit pulled that Imperva inside, pulled that Cisco inside. You say, boss, I helped you sell. I could have replaced you with somebody else. Be a little bit knowledgeable on your product, competitive products. So don't go and say, Cisco, I could have SD-WAN, I can do better. He will ask you back, who can do SD-WAN better? You should know the rival product. Otherwise, you become a fool. So my point is, know your rival products. Though you're not pitching, know strengths. SD-WAN, Huawei, Cisco, Cisco SD-WAN is value. Huawei SD-WAN is price. I mean, you won't tell that to Cisco, but basically you know the game. Know your game. That's what I said in the previous slide. Know your play and your player. Right? Final thing, we tend to ignore the distributors. Do you know that I meet Reddington also every month? The reason is he gives me additional margin. He gives me a better payment term. My PFR is run on multiple things, not just the OEM. My MD of Reddington, I meet him every quarter. The reason is that relationship. He gives me additional 1% margin. I am in a 8% margin situation. I tell him, boss, you give me additional 2%, boss. Next order, I will balance it out. He will shed this 0.5%, 1% to me, or he will improve my payment term. It's possible. It works. We tend to ignore the distributors. All right, boss, those are chota vendors. Don't think it's a chota. Reddington is a $5 billion company. I'm in touch with top tier 1 and tier 2 distributors on a regular basis. That helps. Then, of course, the logistics, they do the services and all that stuff. Those are normal common sense. Next one, next slide. Bought out enablers. These things you can celebrate. This is one thing which I always tell. Tech Mahindra has been traditionally a PFR shy company. This is why I learned it. You go anywhere, we have told them, I don't need bought outs. This is a tendency I'm telling which I started. Go there. No. We had already told the vendors because we don't want to touch the danger of the BOQ. We are scared of BOQs. We're scared of details. We're very superficial sometimes. The problem is every one of us want to fly at 90,000 feet. Everybody wants to be a CEO without getting into details. That's a problem because you need to get into details. Why is this happening? Why will it come through? Don't be PFR shy. Communicate openly. I go and tell SAP I'm open for a reseller. Like just now Heman mentioned, he will say you don't have an agreement. It's not a challenge. You see, is there a potential sign an agreement offline? And when you're signing an agreement, remember there are clauses to it. There could be a cost to it. There could be a target to it. Today, agreements are not freely signed. Some top tier partners attach a license target to it. Be cautious. It's not, nothing is free. There's no free lunch here. Another question here, inventorize your client landscape. Goes back to your customer journey. Right? Inventorize. I should know, hello, some echo. I should know when my hardware refresh is going to come up in my customer site. If it's 2 years down the line, data center refresh is a big value item. Moving to cloud is a big transformation. It's not a value item in terms of dollars, but it's a transformation item. In 2 years, if my hardware refresh is going to go, get into alignment. See, talk to the CIO. Is he going for a hybrid? Is he going to cloud? Align with the partner immediately. Don't wait for 2 years. RFP comes only in 2022. Now, let me start in 22 January. By the time Wipro is aligned or TCS is aligned, Cognizant is aligned. Align early. Goes back to the early bird answer. And quid pro, like I mentioned, the fourth point, quid pro. Quid pro is simple. I told you just now. You did a SI bid of 30 million. Pick up the 10 vendors, talk to them saying, boss, I gave you 1 million, I gave you 500,000, give me another 500,000 in 6 months' time. Nothing is immediate, 6 months' time. He also needs you. He'll be happy to do it. At least you get something. Okay. Another big thing I've been hearing. Boss, this market, this vendor is not available. It will not work. That is an opportunity for me. Do you know we have done a box, resell boxes, our leading product for this enterprise content and all that stuff. We've done $1 million+ there. We don't have a Middle East office at all. It's all operating out of UK. He needs you then more. It's a reverse actually. It's an opportunity for me. So that's another lesson I learned out of my life. Next slide. Srishti, I'm in a talking mode and you gave me a 45 minutes deadline here. Yeah. Next slide. This is the distributor handshake. I mentioned this is my sample just to visualize for you. Talk to your distributors, whoever is in your region. This is just a sample of my region, the different distributors I mentioned. And here, if you see, I've covered my entire geography, not just UAE. I have people in South Africa, I have people in East Africa, I have people in West Africa, Qatar, Saudi, UAE. My key markets, all my key markets are covered with the distributor. I will not wait for my order. The distributor will give me 1% somewhere. Okay. And I go for big distributors. Don't go for the distributors who will go bust. You place an order and if he doesn't deliver, you are in bigger trouble. So don't go for smaller distributors, go for the brands. Okay, next one. This is 10 commandments I always say. No, don't get me wrong. This is what I learned through life. I leave it to read, but just go to the next one, Srishti. See there. The 8 queens puzzle. In chess, we say no 2 queens are the same. You cannot say that I've done a good EBITDA, payment guarantee is not there. No, that's not acceptable benchmark. Your EBITDA norms are 10%, your payment guarantee has to be there. What happens if customer takes the license from you and doesn't pay you, right? Payment guarantee has to be there. And particularly in our markets, right, volatile markets, we are very cautious here. So what is the credit rating of client? All these matter. I'm not going to read. Cost of finance. If you're going to have a deferred payment, there's a cost of finance to it. Be a finance manager also here. Don't leave it to the IBG finance to decide. Spend some time. I spend some time reading financials to learn PFRs. Spend some time. Financials are very easy to learn once you like it. If you hate it, you had it. Every salesman should be a financier is my logic. My previous company had that logic. So my point here is cost of finance. If I have a deferred payment, there's no free money. That money I could have spent on something else. So cost of finance is there, LC cost, everything is there. So my point here is the first point is simple, 8 queens puzzles, right? This is in chess. So people who like chess, the famous terminology, the point is simple. No two queens are can threaten each other. So basically all the 8 points are important. And then the remaining points like proactive pitch, I'm not going to read everything. The final 10th commandment is what I said, put this picture, through the gaps, right? We tend to do this. That's why the picture also comes, right? Through the gaps. We have this habit. Suddenly we change the vendor, right? At last minute. It is not vendor's problem that you change. It is your problem, right? Now, being a salesman, being a sales enabler, I would say be cautious. But sometimes what happens is you might have to do it. Be cautious. That's why I said keep it as plan B, where the number has to come. Do it, but not as plan A always. My point is you want to change a vendor, get customer to say that to the vendor. You don't go and change it. There's always a smart way of doing the wrong thing. Huh? I always tell, if it's black, tell me, I'll make it white. I mean, I'm not propagating illegal or wrong things. There's always a right way of doing a wrong thing. I'm not saying do the wrong thing, but my point is when you're doing, if you're forced to change, customer says, no, I don't want this box for whatever reason. I want this box. Tell customer to tell Cisco. You don't go and tell Cisco, boss, I'm changing to Huawei because I will lose. It's a foolish answer. Or you don't take his phone call. We think very smart. We don't take the phone call. The worst thing you can do is not take a phone call when there is escalation. And you know, like KG mentioned, it's a relationship, right? He's going to ignore you tomorrow. He's going to spread negativity in your next RFP. And in T30, it's very critical because you're going to sit on that client for next 2-3 years. So if I play with one wrong vendor, play wrong with one vendor, that vendor is going to spread across. And today, another challenge is there, right? This partners, the OEM, sales guys are moving. The SAP guy is sitting in Oracle tomorrow. The Oracle guy is sitting in Cisco. Don't ask me why. I'm seeing network players coming into apps. I mean, I laugh, right? But then that's a reality today. So the negativity continues. So don't play that. That's my point. Next point, Srishi. Simple. I always have the small thing. Today we are a world of WhatsApp Gyanis, but I just said alliance relationship, the whole thing is like the sugar inside, right? You don't see it. You need it. You have no option. As a client manager, it's hidden inside. You know, it's hidden inside. If I ignore it, it's going to taste sour later. That's all from me. I think the next slide, go down, Srishti. I was trying to finish it in 45 minutes. My time given, I leave it to Q&A and open to discussions.
Ramesh, this is Bharadwaj. Thank you so much for the excellent presentation. I'm from Melbourne team. I'm just trying to understand the relative position of the partner or alliance management function in our competition and TechM. I understand it varies probably from geography to geography, but from your perspective, what do you think is the difference in the way the partnerships are managed between the and TechM?
Okay, I'll split the answer as 2 parts. Okay, the global MNCs and the Indian SIs. Okay, because each one has its own strategy, right? I'll group it. I mean, of course, each individual company will have its own strategy, but what I saw from Accenture and Deloitte is very different, right? They come from this consulting pedigree, right? So basically, I'll put it this way. I've been in some MNCs before. There, the game is different. They have this consulting route, right? So they will model the consulting exercise for some partner. Okay, that's the way it's driven, right? They will drive the consulting exercise with something in mind. Now, why something in mind is different of different factors for different markets, right? So there, the thing is alignment is based on the consulting roadmap, right? You take an Indian SI, some of the Indian SIs are into the consulting exercise. The point here I'm trying to make is get into the consulting mode. It need not be a billable thing. If you don't have a BE team budget, you become your consulting. You become the consultant for the client advisor. Okay. That's the first step, which is common across the global SIs and the Indian SI. That approach works. Means you are on the driver's seat, right? That's the common element I see across all the partners. I speak to the Accentures, Deloitte. I keep talking to the TCS and us. Everybody is trying to do that. We also should do that. Many client partners come and tell me, I don't have a BE budget. That's fine. You become a client consultant partner. For me, everybody in IT services company is a seller. There's no alliance guy. There's no pre-sales guy. Everybody is a seller. So you become a consultant yourself. That's point one common. Coming to this, some are very partner focused. organizations, right? Partner-driven organizations. In our side, we tend to have, I don't want to comment very toughly, but we tend to have ignored the alliance ecosystem for some time. In the last 2 years or 3 years or 4 years, I see a lot of trust on it. It's not that alliance ecosystem was wrong. Alliance people were trying, but then we tend to ignore the alliance people. I'm not putting my frustration on something. Again, it goes back to the reason we saw ourselves as a services company. So we said we don't need alliance, I will do services. And then the tendency is there in the long-term accounts. I don't want to name, I think KG will get a clue when I say this. There are some customers where we are there for 8 years and we don't know the SAP account manager or an Oracle account manager. Why? Because we said that I'm doing 10 million, 15 million, the past 10 years, happily doing 10 million. Why should I know the SAP account manager? Tomorrow a hybrid deal comes, you're gone. The SAP account manager will recommend a partner out of some small specialized partner, you're gone. My point here is have your alliance strategy. In Tech Mahindra, alliance is a big focus element today. It's one of the premium levers coming from top down. You would have seen the mails, right? From CP level, there's a big focus. I don't want to comment on other partners because everybody has alliance focus. I don't want to compare our alliance with the Wipro or a Accenture alliance. Everybody has, alliance is all about common sense, right? It's a business process with a common sense. The key element being relationship and strategy. Strategy means client strategy. Customer journey goes back. So processes will be 70% same. Your 8 queens are same for all the companies, right? 8 queens, the financial parameters are not new. It's a global standard. So point here is don't worry about what Wipro has for alliance, what Cognizant has for alliance. That's never my concern at all. I am still able to edge into my SAP MD's office, Oracle MD's office, shake hands. Yeah, little concerns that there Wipro is doing well. That doesn't matter. He will be telling the same thing. Ramesh Ram came, he does well with. He will tell the same thing to Wipro. That's business. So my point is, forget about the alliance strategy of other rivals. You have your own. And Tech Mahindra has a huge focus right from CP down the line to all the leaders are having alliance QBRs today across the region. Manish, Vyas, Jagdish. So our alliance strategy is quite good, is my point. Yeah.
Thanks, Ramesh. Just a related question. What percentage of many of our alliance partners have budgets for different vendors, which we leverage for proof of concept or innovation projects or doing some marketing focus initiatives specific to a certain account or a certain function like IoT or any of those things. Different strokes for different folks. Now, question is generally at a high level, general or an average representation, what would be the percentage in your experience so far? What percentage of those budgets are leveraged by us globally for those account or function or targeted initiatives as opposed to an annual event of vendors coming together and making a presentation and all the sales guys from TechM going and listening to them? So what percent, where do you think you're seeing the maximum benefit as an alliance partner for the businesses?
I don't have a global view here, Bharadwaj, because I'm very more regional focused, but I can give you a small example. The last 5 years, our sales meet is sponsored by partners. Okay. We spent a few hundred K on
that's
this.
why I'm asking that. Yeah.
So my point here is I'm not trying to boast the region, but basically it is funded because of the license sale we do. Let's understand the logic, right? Again, I'll go back to the process. I will not touch the vendor specific. The MDF, generally the word is MDF, but the people call it different vendors, right? Based on the sale you do, MDF is possible. There's a marketing budget is also possible before the sale, provided you sign a business plan. There are 2 stages, right? I can go to Microsoft and say, I will ensure that I will get you this Azure consumption X million in the next 2 years. Microsoft is a classic company. It can do a marketing budget without you billing, but you need to give that commitment. There's no free money, right? I commit that $2 million, I can get something. That's part 1. Part 2 is I've already done a sale. For example, I don't want to name the partner. We're going to do a huge CIO summit in our region, sponsored by a partner. Right. My point is it is possible. The second stage I told you is based on the license I already sold, license sold or hardware sold. Okay. Coming back to your question on POCs. POCs again, proactive pitch. See, I'm telling you very clearly. If there is a proactive pitch and customer is keen on it, the vendors are sponsoring it fully. And I'm not spent it. I have spent my 12 years in Tech Mahindra, 12.5 years. I've not spent $1 on POC from my pocket. From my pocket means Tech Mahindra's pocket. I've never gone. I will never go to Vikram or Ram for a POC, proof of money at all. We have run all our sales events, internal sales events with 80 to 100 people attending every year through partner budgets only. Nothing customer, it's internal. What did we tell them is, we will sell it for you. That commitment comes. And here is a big element. Bharadwaj, here one more point. You are a seller to your customer and to your internal channels. You should sell it to your boss on your alliances. See, your boss is a SBU head, is busy with 100 Bharadwajas, right? So you should sell it. Sell it means the value sell. I go with Cisco, I do this business plan, I'm going to generate you 5 million. Many times we hesitate to give a business plan. Many times we don't want to commit numbers. Ramesh, let's do SAP alliance. What is your target? Well, let's do, let's see. No, there's nothing like let's see. Let's do an alliance with a purpose. Don't generate, I always tell them one thing, I mentioned the 10 commandments also. Don't generate business to keep Ramesh Ram's job. Ramesh Ram will find a way to do his job, right? So that's the logic here. Same way sales enablement. Learn it, because learning is key.
Yeah, see,
I don't know.
One point I want to make here is, see, with this alliance thing, the sexy part is, hey, we went to Baku in Azerbaijan with 80 people, airfare paid and all that. Or, you got the t-shirt, or, POCs are free and all that, right? That is very incidental. I mean, that is 100,000. So what is your revenue, total revenue of the region, Ram?
With alliances? With alliances.
Total.
Total, we're talking about 120 last year.
About 120 million. Out of that, 20 million he does through alliances. Right? 25 million or 30 million he does through alliances. That is what the thing is about. It is not about that 100K that you got through MDF and you spent on, taking your 80 people to Azerbaijan and drank. Right? So that the problem is we get confused, sidetracked, what is MDF and how much does it come and where does it go and how do I... Good. Keep that. That is incidental. It is about the fact that out of 120 million, 30 million he does every year through alliances, predictably, profitably.
Right.
That's the important part.
Yeah. KG sir, got it. Ramesh, just last question. Sorry.
Sure.
There is always a give and take. Like you and KG sir have emphasized, there is always a give and take. Personal relationships, we help each other. It's a symbiotic relationship on many levels at different accounts. So are you giving more to your partners on an average, or you get more leads from them? How is it developing? Is it what percentage of the leads are generated through these alliances? Generally speaking, a guideline.
Okay. This is the question. Okay, I like this question. When I started Europe few months back, somebody asked me this question. I don't want to name the leader. He asked me this question. You don't know Europe. I came for a holiday, but then you don't know Europe. So how is that you're going to impress a partner through a Teams, right? So what I told him was, see, firstly, you should understand the other side, right?
Yeah.
Get him to sell some of his products, licenses, hardware into your existing customers. The easiest route is that, right? I have my existing customer base. Make him sell something. Let it be a 250,000, doesn't matter. I make some licenses, either resell. See, it's not just the resell route. We tend to wrongly understand. There's an influenced revenue route as well. I will enable a sale of a CX license to Oracle. So Oracle will do a direct license sale. But because of my value pitch, my POC, my value pitch, my proactiveness, the partner is happy. So there's an influenced revenue angle, right? This influenced revenue angle creates a mind share. And it's a quid pro. Don't feel shy. I keep on telling, don't feel shy. Many of us are shy. I'm a very shy person personally. I mean, my profile photo also doesn't have my photo. I'm very shy. But then challenges in business, it doesn't work that way. Don't feel shy. The moment you give a business influence, you tell me, boss, I need some 250,000 back from you, boss. It is business. I need that. And he's going to do it for you because he needs you also. It's mutual. And the point here is, start with if it's a new relationship, start with your existing customer, try to do some value pitches. Every time might not generate revenue, but at least there's a mind share. Then you ask for new revenue. The formula works. This is for bigger vendors. Smaller vendors, tier 3 vendors are reverse, right? They need you more than your brand, your 5 billion brand is bigger for them. There you play a master game, master slave, right? It's all diplomatic, right? Don't be political, be diplomatic. That's my theory always. Be diplomatic. Listen. Okay, he's a tier 3. He needs me more. Okay, I'm on the upper hand there. I don't dominate him, but I say, boss, I will do your pitch provided you do the. You know what I tell all the news data science vendors? PFR will be through me. Okay, deal done. Come, let's go. Because he's a tier 3. He's a tier 2.
Correct. So that's
Yeah, I do that.
Significant mind. I think you've taken a lot of airtime, and Rishikesh Gilda tried to come on video also. So Rishikesh, you want to say something? Gilda is on mute.
Ramesh, yes, can you hear me? I have a
Sorry, who's that? Very bad voice. Very bad quality of voice. Hello. While you struggle with your voice, can somebody else come up?
Or else I'll.
Yeah, say.
Okay, sure.
Say,
yeah. Thanks. So quickly, Ramesh, relating. Yes, I think there is a bit of a lag. Sorry. So Ramesh, a great presentation and a lot of passion as you speak. So thanks for this. I think we do know that we need to connect with the alliances. It's just that this works as a booster for sure. This is very tactical and a real life situation where I'm struggling and I thought I can ask for help. This is tier 5 of an alliance. If you ever had one in the pyramid, we're trying to connect with, especially because Rakuten in Japan wants to work with them, and they already have some engagement. We are trying to bring in, our SI capabilities with this partner. Have reached out to the CEO of this very small cell, but haven't had any kind of response or any kind of luck. One way is to leave it at that, saying that they will come back when they need us, or the other way is to woo them by saying that, oh, we are globally present, why don't you do a partnership with us? Is there any other way, any struggle stories that you have where you wanted to reach out to a partner and they didn't respond? That's basically my question. Thank you.
In a new market, okay, I'll give a small example. Europe, I told you, right? I started writing to SAP. Right. It took me first UK. I started with UK. It took me 3 weeks to get the first half-an-hour appointment in Teams. Here you have to be careful. They don't know me. They don't know Tech Mahindra. Tech Mahindra they know as a service company, but not keen on. Now 3 weeks I should not see. The habit we tend to do is either we ignore after 1 week or we tend to write an email every day. That's also irritating, right? So, and these guys don't put their phone numbers also. Nowadays, people are very smart. Nobody puts a phone number. So the point here is softly do it. You know what I did? I started telling the story what they want to hear. I didn't write a mail. I am Ramesh Ram, 12 years, 30 years, white hair. I can do 10 million, 15 million, nothing. I wrote a small line saying, intelligent enterprise. I did a storyline of 3 phases. I need 30 minutes of your time, not to introduce myself. Who am I? I'm nothing. I'm just an enabler, right? I want to tell you how I've enabled intelligent enterprise through my CX portfolio of Bond Group with the bio dimension, enabling influence revenue for your salespeople. Do you know what happened? I got an audience of 30 minutes. I spoke to the alliance guy. Somewhere I could impress him. I had a session for SAP UK. 25 sellers joined. And I just, generic. I went with a corporate storyline fit for SAP to the alliance guy, took a mind share. But when I went to the seller, generic yarn doesn't work, right? I pushed my generic yarn 5 minutes light. 20 minutes, I pushed my GSK story on stop. Because GSK is a brand I have in my pocket. It's a local brand. I pushed my GSK story, got my client partner GSK to speak, and said, I can get you more GSKs if you get me in. So 25 people I'm in touch in SAP UK. Sellers, right? So the storyline you speak, I'll give you a small example. The storyline you tell the alliance guy is very generic. I mean, he needs that little bit of a corporate storyline, but don't get me wrong, I'm an alliance guy, but alliance guys cannot go beyond a certain level inside the organization, even in large OEMs. Let's be very honest, right? You have to make him important, right? He's a door opener for you. So here, if he writes a mail to a seller, nobody's going to be bothered. Here I said, to enable your customer intelligent enterprise, I have a CX story. Everybody says a CX story. Through my Bond Group capability, the work I have done in Changi Airport, which brought a mobile app, which I don't know how many of you have heard. Go and reference the story. So I heard I took the Changi Airport story for a Bond Group CX. Today the keyword is CX. Always go with the keyword, right? The CX whereby the customer experience, the passenger on a boarding pass can deliver a chocolate pack to the boarding gate, kind of a story. People want to listen to customer value propositions. Technology is last, right? So can you give me a, he listened to me for half an hour and he said, okay, I'll arrange a session, can you run through? So 5 minutes I ran, 25 sellers came in, all 25 have their email IDs. I'm pinging them every week offline. So I don't need the alliance guy now. I will not ignore him. I will CC him, give him the credit so that he doesn't ditch me. I'm continuing my pitch. So that's one approach you break in, right? You have to read your capabilities inside. Like somebody said before this, right? Know what Tech Mahindra's strengths are. The problem is we always tend to be negative about ourselves, right? No, yeah, I'm not done an implementation. No, there's a lot of implementations, managed services. Add a little bit of a pepper and salt to it. It looks very spicy. Okay, just add the new flavor. That's one example I can give you. Microsoft reverse, right? Network cloud, enterprise of the future. You know, those kind of stories. Don't go and tell an app story to a network, and a SD-WAN story will sell to a Cisco. Security story sells to a Cisco. So go to YouTube's boss. And my point is simple. Go to your OEM website, read your capabilities deck, go to the YouTube. Anybody is a solution expert in 2 hours, 3 hours now.
Absolutely. I think that helps, Ramesh. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Very powerful. Thank you.
Anything else, sir?
No, I think the whole purpose in this, if you really see, ladies and gentlemen, is all stitching this together, right? Your ecosystem, which means the alliances that he's talking about, the account plan, which he says is the customer journey, customer strategy, therefore bringing that to bear, and alliances, how to use talk to them, the networking bit, trying to doing little more research going. So Swaminathan Mani is another person like Ram who understands a lot more of what is there in the go down of the company, and he's able to present that at will, right? Many of us, and like what Ram said, many of us try to berate ourselves, and that's what also I tried to do in this whole program. That how do we purge the temporary files in our operating system of, hey, this, we are not good, our delivery is bad. I'm not saying that is not true. Many of it is true, but you have to, purge that of those temporary files, that cache. From time to time, this program is about that. And it's wonderful, Ram. Any other questions? Otherwise, we have to wind up. Every day we are ending 5 minutes later.
Last question. KG-san, last question. Ramesh, do you map your alliance partners like a sales guy maps an account?
In fact,
like an account manager maps an account. You're also a salesperson, so.
That's right. I map different teams inside the OEM. Remember that. Alliance guy is just a door opener, like I mentioned before. And second is he's not that powerful in the large OEMs. I will be very honest. He's not very powerful. His mails are not read unless you provide him a value to read, right? So point here is alliance is only a door opener in the OEMs. There's product teams inside. There are product managers inside who will help you in your solutioning, right? BOQ, optimization, pricing. Then there are the third parties, from a process-oriented OEM, like SAP, there are industry value advisors, right? The infra players will not have it.
Right.
Infra players make a story, but finally the SAP and Oracle have industry value advisors. I talk to them directly. Why do I talk to them? They will advise. Tomorrow there is a $50 million utilities proposal RFP coming up. They advise partners based on the strengths of the partner. It's not the salesman. The salesman can advise Tech Mahindra, but if industry values advice says no, Tech Mahindra's capabilities are not strong in utilities, your salesman gives up, because industry value advisors come from the board, Waldorf and that gang, the bigger power, the 40, 45-year-old guys. So I align with them. My point is, you have to alliance. It depends on the OEM, but basically you have to alliance not just the alliance manager, account managers, product managers, industry principals wherever it's applicable, and finally the country head has to know you and your boss.
Correct. Yeah. Correct. Yeah.
I'm not talking about all the 50 OEMs. I do it. Like, I take Ram and Vikram to the top 5 and 10, but the remaining 40 I keep meeting. But when somebody asked, right, digital becomes your play, then immediately take them to a digital. And today, let me tell you, all the senior vice presidents and the leaders are keen to meet alliance leaders because there's a big alliance focus. Everybody, top to bottom, are keen, but don't take them for any lower level. Have a protocol also. Be very clear. Have a protocol also on who you take where, because that also matters, right? So that's the thumb rule. I'm available anytime. You can call me in Teams. I'm in Teams, and I'm available.
Most importantly, I think the message here is that Ram is a success in doing alliances in a predictable, profitable, widespread manner in the region. And the so-called stigma, if you say that alliances happens only in emerging markets, or alliances happen only at the back of an SI deal, have all been demolished. That myths have been demolished. He has demonstrated that, continuing to demonstrate that, and here he is a beacon from which to learn from, and that's the whole purpose.
And a small line here: 3 digital plays our telecom team in Middle East Africa sold unique 3 different deals the telecom salespeople did. And I would say the solution advisors are the account managers and the region heads themselves. A PG, Hybris, AWS, all are 2 million plus deals. All were sold in last 3-4 months. And if I call the account manager, in fact, we have asked the 3 people the salespeople to present in the next sales meet. All the 3 salespeople and the region heads are invited to present how they sold. These are complex solutions. And if you go into the company, the capabilities are a little lower. I mean, it is there, but it's not that big. And these are new age products. So my point is, we are asked them to speak in the next sales internal session. The 3 people are going to speak. So see, my point is, as an alliance guy, I don't hold anything to my credit. The problem we have is we want credit. Everybody holds everything to the lap. Be open. And from your angle, you're not alliance manager, you're more of alliance owner. Yeah.
So the word for that for today is generosity. Yeah, today's our word for today is generosity. So yeah. So on that note, do we? I mean, I'm. If you notice, I'm trying to pull the threads together, make sure that the whole program is as much threaded as it is possible to be. So I think, do we bring the session to a close, Guneet, Rachana?
Yes, so we can do that. We have the leaderboard to share.
Do that.
To make things interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that. Go ahead.
So Deep, could you please bring up the leaderboard?
Sure.
While the leaderboard is coming up, one quick interesting announcement. So we had the exponential thinking presentations yesterday. The scores are in. You'd come to know that within a few minutes. But 2 teams have been selected as finalists to present to CP tomorrow. So those 2 teams are Redeemers and Avengers. So 2 teams, Redeemers and Avengers, will present their account plan to drive exponential growth, 10x exponential growth, tomorrow to CP. So best of luck, guys. Gear on and prepare. And this is
essentially essentially, even though Thunderbirds is number 2 on the leaderboard, on this assignment, it is Avengers who have gone ahead.
Yes, sir. So this is the overall leaderboard starting from week 1 until the day 2 today. So these are the standings. We have a couple of more scores, anything to go in, which means it's anybody's game in the coming 2 days. But this is how we stand as of now. So good job, Redeemers.
Great.
So can we have Avengers on screen, please? Captain, can you please come on the video with your team? Let us just quickly congratulate you before we close for the day.
Sorry, who did you want to get on the screen? Redeemers or Avengers?
Redeemers.
Oh, sorry, I heard Avengers. My bad.
You said Avengers.
You said Avengers, yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, my bad. Redeemers, please come on screen. Avengers, yeah, you are in fighting tomorrow. So let's see who emerges victorious.
Ashish Bhuta. Ramesh Ram to nahi hai. Rajesh Thakur. Arjun Madan वापस आ गया. Only 3, na? The 4th is COVID-ized.
Priya, no. Priya and Anirudh.
Priya, where is Priya? Priya ran away. Oh, Priya. Not there.
Actually, I was skeptical where we are on the leaderboard, but it's a very pleasant surprise, Arjun.
Actually, I agree. I was a little bit. So in fact, KG, you should know. So we have the separate WhatsApp group between the 5 of us. Okay, where we coordinate times, and because we're in 4 different time zones. So for call coordination, also we need to coordinate times, right? And just earlier today, I was bitching that I felt that the team which came after us got more than 7 minutes to present. So I was telling the people in the WhatsApp group that, guys, we played by the rules. We stuck to
Next
7
time we'll
minutes.
take more
You know,
time.
we should, because of that we're losing out. La 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 la. And yeah, so this is a good surprise.
I don't know the criteria, but when I used to do it and all detailing, timeliness was also a criteria.
It is, sir. It
I
is.
think yes,
Timeliness,
that's where
submission, individual scores, everything plays a huge role. We'll share the marking scheme with you guys in the WhatsApp group, so you get more clearer where you have to focus on, and the individual scoreboard as well.
Congratulations, guys. Good job. And which location? Singapore, Sydney, Rajesh Thakur. Oh my God, Rajesh Thakur to Qatar, and then who's the?
Actually, KG, nowadays I'm in Delhi, so
Delhi?
it's a bit
Not
better.
bad. 1.5 hours, 2.5 hours saved.
Yeah.
All right.
So Singapore, Australia, and 2 locations in Australia, 1 Singapore, and 2 locations in India.
India. Okay. So the Delhi and wherever Jaladi is, wherever. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.